Devaluation. If the narcissist was honest. We narcissists will occasionally tell you things which accord with the truth as you understand it to be. The only reason that happens is because it serves our purposes to do so. Accordingly, if you are beautiful and we tell you that you are, it is because it serves our purposes. If your bum really does look fat in that outfit, we will tell you, again, because it serves our purposes. More usually, however, we are dishonest, and we tell lies. Again, this is because playing fast and loose with the truth enables us to achieve our prime aims: fuel, control, character traits, and residual benefits. That is what the narcissist requires. Of course, lesser and mid-range narcissists don't know that that is what they want. They believe their own lies. They believe that what they say is the truth because the narcissism that controls them alters their perspective so that they understand that that is their truth. Their narcissism rewrites history. Their narcissism causes them to see things in a different way to the way that you see them, in order to preserve those defenses, to assert control, to gather that fuel, and so forth. Accordingly, when a lesser or mid-range narcissist says something which accords with your understanding of the truth, then that is because the narcissism has selected that as the most appropriate thing for that narcissist to do in order to control you. It is not because that narcissist has suddenly gained a conscience. He has none. It is not because the narcissist has suddenly become honest. He does not have that empathic trait. It is merely the case that there is an alignment between what you understand as the truth and the narcissist's necessity of acting, or more usually saying something, that accords with your understanding of the truth because it gets us what we want. It is like two planets aligning. Every so often, it occurs, and therefore we say things which you understand to be true. It's not because the narcissist has suddenly gained any insight into who they are. It's not suddenly because the narcissist has changed. It is quite purely a case of the sequence of events that you understand to be the truth are agreed with, admitted to, or confirmed by the narcissist because it serves the narcissist's purpose. And where this occurs with a lesser or mid-range narcissist, that is purely an unconscious act driven by their narcissism. They are incapable of being truly open and honest about what they are, why they behave as they do, their mindset, and what it is that they need. With the greater narcissist and the ultra, we know that we tell lies because it entertains us to do so, and it is expedient. Similarly, devoid of the empathic trait of honesty, with no conscience, remorse, or guilt, we are unhindered and unfettered in the way that you might be with regard to having a hesitation to act or speak dishonestly. For us, the truth is pliable, and in some instances we will accord similarly with what you understand the truth to be, again purely because it serves our purposes. It is not because, as the greater or the ultra, we suddenly think, oh, I'm a terribly bad person, I ought to really tell the truth here. Moreover, it's, oh, how fortunate, serendipity. What they are saying accords with what I want to achieve, therefore I can agree with them, admit to it, confirm that to be the case. It is purely good fortune on your part. Nothing more, nothing less. There has been no shift in the behavior of the narcissist, no change, no sudden realization. More usually, the greater or the ultra will continue to tell those lies, because telling those lies achieves what we want: control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. We do not, unless it serves a purpose, act honestly with you, even though we know where we are being dishonest. The reason being is we would never do that, because if we were honest all of the time, we would be giving the power to you. We would be stripped of our control, and that can never happen. But what if, at the point of devaluation, the narcissist was to write you a letter, which was entirely honest as to their behaviour. What if the lesser or mid-ranger was suddenly allowed to speak, or rather write, honestly to you about why they have treated you the way that they have and what they're going to do next? What if the greater and the ultra decided on this occasion that there was no difficulty with regard to the transference of power, and that such a letter could be written? This is what it would read like. Dear victim, well, here we are again, or rather, here I am again. I referred to we because, as I have mentioned previously, I don't really distinguish between you and all the others. So what is about to happen next seems to me as if it has happened with you numerous times before. What is going to happen is something that I have done many times before with so many other victims. So one thing to keep at the forefront of your mind is that you're not the first and you're not alone in being subjected to what will come next. You're not special. It's been amazing so far, hasn't it? I told you I would love you like nobody else ever has, and I have delivered. Of course, what you understand that to meant is entirely different from what I actually meant by it. Okay, so I was actually loving your praise, love, admiration, and adoration of me, because all of that is fuel. I love the way that I was able to assert control over you. I love the character traits that I obtained from you, and also those residual benefits. To you, of course, it felt like I did love you in a way that went beyond anything that you had ever experienced before. That certainly kept you happy, i.e., it kept you under my control. You told me every day how happy you were, how elated you were, how in love you were, and you gave me what is known as positive fuel. I need that, so it was actually appreciated, albeit, of course, I see myself as entitled to it, and it's something that you ought to do. However, because I didn't want to threaten my control of you, I avoided acting in a self-entitled manner. Purely, again, for my own needs, not because of yours. You went around telling your friends and your family, your colleagues, the man at the hot dog stand, in fact, anybody who'd listen, how wonderful we were. I enjoyed hearing about that, watching you do it, as again that provided me fuel and showed me that you were under my control. That then made me feel powerful. That is all I actually feel in terms of positive responses, powerful. But that doesn't matter, as that is all that I want and need. Here I was able to make you tell the world about our supposedly perfect love, and goodness me, you have loved me perfectly. You told me every day just how much you loved me. You cared for me, looked after me, and helped me in so many ways, from letting me use your car when I crashed mine, to scratching my back as I lay in bed at night ready to sleep. You never swerved in your unstinting desire to love me, look after me, protect me, assist me, and do all of those things that you believed would bring me pleasure. Pleasure and happiness. Of course, what I showed you was the external manifestation of those things because I can't actually feel them. I've learned how they look. And so, when you thought I was happy, I was merely selecting from the vault of various expressions that are kept within my mind the appropriate way to demonstrate happiness to you, so I fitted in. But all I ever felt was power. And of course, at this stage, it was not all one way. I gave you everything that I could. I only did it, though, to control you, to gain your fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. I don't love you. I never have. I'm incapable of that. Because I have no emotional empathy. I'm completely devoid of it. It never existed with me. All I did was ever give to receive. There is no sacrifice that I made. It was worth doing what I did. I wouldn't crawl over hot coals or broken glass to save you. I just said all of those things because they sounded good. All of the time I was conning you. And this initial period where I appeared to love you mightily and completely was just a fraudulent act on my behalf. You need to understand that, although you'll probably struggle to do so. None of it was real. None of it was genuine. You didn't imagine it, but it wasn't genuine. You behaved in a particular way to provide me with your love. Unconditional, unwavering, delicious positive fuel for me. All I ever did was look after myself. I don't know any other way. You sometimes told me about your love for me being without condition. I didn't understand what you meant. No, that's wrong. I understood what you meant, but I struggle to imagine doing this. I don't actually love you. Or, to put it another way, my version of love is one of so many conditions, the chief one being that I only actually love you for the control I get over you and the fuel that you provide me, not for who you are. It will take you a long time to understand this, and even a longer time to accept that this is the case. That's why I'm writing this letter for you, so that you can keep reading and rereading it in order to allow it to sink in. After all, nobody else is going to be able to tell you how it really is, will they? Anyway, it's been brilliant so far. Ordinarily, I would claim that's all down to me. After all, am I not brilliant? It is a fact, however, that you more than played your part. You gave me absolutely everything, and I know that. However, it is never enough. You gave me your heart, your soul, and you poured every essence of your being into the concept of you and I. I know you did this because I could see you doing it. I had to, because I needed that in order to sustain me. The more you gave, the more brilliant I became, the more powerful that I felt, and therefore you gave even more in return. You gave, I responded, you gave, I responded. It was an upward spiral. Two people working together in magnificent harmony. You because you believed in us, me because I needed to control you and gain your fuel. Not that you ever realized this, why would you? I became the perfect partner, complimenting you, praising you and loving you in that oh-so-spectacular way. It was intense, it was scintillating, and I made sure I became everything that you would ever want from a relationship as I mirrored yourself back at you. It was a great deal for us both. I made you feel ultra-special. You, in return, gave me the ultra-fuel that I needed. Does it matter that what I provided you was based on something else, namely a fiction? I would say perhaps not. You still got what you want, didn't you? I should imagine that you would argue that it did matter, because you truly believed that I genuinely loved you for who you are, and that should be the case. Again, I can understand why you would think like that. You're big on this love thing, aren't you? That's why I picked you, of course, that and many other reasons, because of your empathic, class, and special traits. You see, that's what I look for. I look for the things that make you the empath. I look for the things that make you the empath because then you will be easier to seduce. You'll be easier to keep seduced. You'll be easier to keep under my control. And you are the best at catering to the prime aims. That is why I chose you. It was not to do with the fact of who you are as a person in the whole, but of what you could do for me. I wonder, though, if nothing altered, if I kept treating you the same way forever as I've done so far, even though it's predicated on a completely different basis to one you think, would that actually trouble you? You wouldn't know, of course. All you would know is that I continue to give you this fake love that you crave in the manner that you have come to expect and in a fashion that makes you feel so special. I don't suppose you would be particularly upset if that remained the case, would you? The thing is, that isn't going to happen. Yes, you read that correctly. What has happened so far, marvellous as it is, although it's not genuine, is now effectively at an end. Oh, you will be allowed some glimpses of the person that you thought I was from time to time, in order to keep you under control, but to all intents and purposes, this golden period of unparalleled love has now come to an end. The sun has set. You won't realise this because, first of all, you just cannot accept that something so wonderful could end in this manner. Second of all, you will not realise because of what I am going to do. I am now going to confuse you, bewilder you, and befuddle you. I'm going to make everything hazy, amorphous, nebulous, blurred and indistinct, so you can't understand what is going on. I'm going to create those shifting sands, so there is no clear foundation on which you can build anything logical. This is where it gets particularly twisted. Why am I going to do this? Well, something has changed. I would usually explain that if I ever felt an explanation should be given, and of course I operate from the stance that I owe you no explanations at all because I'm unaccountable to you, because if I'm accountable to you, that means you're controlling me, and that can never happen. Ordinarily, I would say that it's all your fault. You've let me down. I do believe that to be the case. I wish it was not. I would prefer that this wonderful period could have continued for the rest of our days together, but it can't. You see, what once invigorated me and made me feel powerful just doesn't cut it anymore. It just doesn't do it in the same way. Don't think that you're alone in this happening. You're not. All the others let me down as well. To me, it's as if you're not trying any longer. To me, it's as if you've become bored with my brilliance and you see no reason to admire me and adore me in the way that you once did. That wounds me. That makes me feel vulnerable, powerless, weak and small. And I hate that. I understand that you don't see it that way. I understand that you see it more of a settling down of the relationship, that something called the honeymoon period is over, and it moves to a more deep-seated and reassuring state of companionship, of being content with one another, enjoying the silences together. But that isn't enough for me. That shift means that, to me, you're making me feel weak and powerless. Your actions, or perhaps more accurately, your lack of actions, makes me feel less than what I am. It makes me feel weak, it makes me feel worthless, and this infuriates me. I know that others have said to me in the past that nothing has changed in the way that they feel about me, that they love me just as much as they always have done. Yet even though they tell me this, it doesn't feel like that to me anymore. The power I felt when you showed me that love and admiration is either no longer there or not as strong. I cannot help feeling this way. This is who I am. Since I haven't changed in the way that I regard you, I can only reach the conclusion that this alteration in how I feel has been brought about as a consequence of you. Something in the way that you act towards me has altered. You perhaps are not giving enough of yourself to me. You are not manifesting the love, admiration, the adoration in the way that powers me. Or if you are, it just doesn't work any longer. I've become bored of it. It might be that sometimes it feels stale to me. That has happened. Perhaps it is because you have become too familiar to me, and therefore I don't derive the same reaction that I once did to the way that you have behaved. I know that this has been suggested to me, and, in some instances, that is right. For so long, you behaved the same way towards me, loving me in that wonderful way, and it didn't feel stale or jaded. I think, more likely, it is more to do with the case you have begun to treat me differently. You're not performing at the level I require, and therefore to me this means you no longer regard me in the same light, and this offends me. I feel criticised by this behaviour of yours, and therefore, as a consequence of this challenge to my control over you, I have to act and to protect myself. You see, I don't like to lose control. In fact, I hate it, and therefore I need to act promptly in order to defend myself against this threat to my control. That is why I have to do what comes next. I had hoped, actually, that this wouldn't happen. I had hoped that we could have just trundled along, and that you would be the one so that this could be avoided. I had hoped that you wouldn't let me down, that I had made the right choices and decisions, so that our golden reign could continue however. Unfortunately, hope is a false mistress, and she only ever disappoints. I guess I got it wrong. Ordinarily, I could never admit that. I don't want to be seen as wrong, because then that means I don't have control, and that therefore means that I'm weak, and I hate being weak, and that's the last thing I want you to think that I am. So, here I am, again, about to protect myself from what you're doing. Anybody else would say sorry for what is about to happen, but as you will soon find out, I don't do apologies, because if I apologise, genuinely, that makes me accountable to you, and that means you have the control and I don't, and that cannot happen. I may feel sorry for myself that it has come to this, of course. I can be full of self-pity when the need arises. So that is the end of the golden period that we had. I must do what I have done so many times before, and now bring the hurt. I am now going to punish you. I am now going to turn what we had on its head. I'm going to take you from the pedestal I put you on and throw you off, so that you fall from a great height and land in the stinking, dirty ditch that I've dug for you. I am going to devalue you. The way that I do it depends very much on the type of narcissist that I am. In some instances, you will be beaten. You'll be the recipient of sexual violence. You'll be starved. You'll be locked out of your house. You'll be subjected to verbal violence. I will cheat on you. I will sit and sulk. I will not talk to you. I will glare at you. I will talk in gobbledygook. I will go round and round in circles. I will bring up things that you've done from the past, whether real or invented, and throw them in your face again. I will promise you the world and never deliver it. I will triangulate you with friends and family, the things that you have done, the things that other people have done. I will triangulate you with my phone. I will triangulate you with my car. I will triangulate you with a carrot in the fridge if necessary. I will deny. I will deflect. I will engage in a range of behaviours which are designed to continue to control you, because I must have it. The flattery and the bribery that once existed, all of the compliments, that's gone. For now. They will return briefly. It's called a respite period. But for now, it's lies, lies, and more lies. The future faking, the triangulation, the present silent treatments and the absent silent treatments. The backhanded compliments, the physical violence, the pity plays and the smearing. Promise gain and false compassion, false contrition and invalidation. Belittlement, withdrawal, denial, guilt, provocation, projection, and blame shifting. Side order of a word salad, triangulation with our children. Threat, making topics now forbidden, controlling you through finances, controlling you through clothing. Insults, I will destroy property. I'll revise history. I will gaslight you. I will shout at you. I will alienate you. And more besides. I have a long list of black behaviours that will be now meted out against you. And this has to be done because you've let me down. You actually haven't, but from my point of view, you have. And I can't let you go now because I haven't got anybody to replace you yet. I will work on that whilst I'm tormenting you, searching around, seeking for somebody else to bring in, because I will end up believing them to be better than you. Do you deserve this? No. But in my world, it has to be done, and therefore I am told that you do deserve it, because my perspective is different to yours. And therefore, I will now act with disappointed fury. I will stop now, as I have some other people to attend to as part of this devaluation. But I will write again. You now ought to put on your armour, because it's going to get very nasty now. Yours, in disappointed fury, Narcissist.